I would like to welcome all to the Istanbul Aydın University Blockchain Talks webinars, which is organized by the Istanbul Aydın University Blockchain Academy. And our today's speaker is Mr. Giorgio Torre, and he will tell us about his ideas, his experiences on about the blockchain as a part of Metaverse. So we are welcome, Giorgio, you to our webinar. Thank you very much for being our today's speaker, and I will give the floor to you. So we are very curious and listen to you. Thank you. The word is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Erol, and thank you to Istanbul Aydın University for this opportunity. As is well known, blockchain is a digitally distributed, decentralized, and public ledger that exists across the network. So a big misconception when it comes to blockchain, and Erol, probably you know this very, very well, it's that people tend to associate blockchain to crypto, which is not the right association, because crypto is just a small portion of blockchain. And I'm also happy to be part of this panel because I know a lot of professionals and people interested in the Web3, Metaverse, and blockchain sector that might find your course, the Istanbul Aydın course Master in Blockchain, very, very useful for their career and their professional development. But let me go back to the real definition of blockchain, and I would like to recall the one of IBM, which for me is very, very representative. So they define as a shared immutable ledger for recording transactions and tracking assets while building trust. Now, I believe that this is very, very representative of what blockchain basically is, other than the cryptocurrencies, the service token, and NFTs. So I would say that in general, blockchain is a decentralized and decentralizing technological layer, which is part again of the Web3, where we don't have a client-server logic. We have more a peer-to-peer, where the network counts more than everything, and where the community is what really fuels the development of the architecture itself. Now, I would say that again, the blockchain pillars, as we all know, are decentralization, are transparency, are immutability, and basically all these three pillars constitute what's the real definition of blockchain is. Now, we tend to confuse blockchain with cryptocurrencies just because cryptocurrencies are just one type of token of blockchain, but we have different types of tokens. For example, we have the utility tokens, rewards, service, asset, and currency tokens itself. For example, the Bitcoin or Ethereum, or all of them are available, which are available on the market. But in general, I would say that blockchain has interesting applications across several industries when it comes to Metaverse and Web3. So I would highlight what I consider the most relevant applications based on my experience, my knowledge, and my interaction with the European and Middle Eastern companies. So I would say that the number one, of course, yes, is the crypto wallet and exchange services. In the case of in the sector of finance, I think this is one of the most known applications, but it's not the only one, because we also have, for example, the use of NFTs for fashion tech collectibles. So now the fashion tech is booming through the NFTs, and all the art-related sectors are basically fueling their growth through the issuance of and the minting and the issuance of NFTs. But I also think about the education. So with the scheme of a share to be rewarded. So the rewarding system, which is basically announcing what the future business models in the Web3 and blockchain based will be. The play to earn, or the share to earn, or the move to earn. So the rewarding system connected to a blockchain, to a ledger, is basically what the future of business plans will look like. But I also think about the gaming. So the avatars and the avatar skins, the wearables, the collectibles that started before with the purely gaming industry, and now are moving. I was surprised, Erol, also because they are now have been adopted, especially in Europe, in big banks for when it comes to customer service. You remember at the beginning we had recorded the voices digit 1 if you need A, digit 2 if you need. But now in Europe, we have basically digital humans or avatars with their NFTs that can be customized based on their use that interact directly with the customers. And this is another interesting application of the blockchain. But also importantly, blockchain shall be mentioned every time we talk about identity and ownership. This is true not only in the case of supply chain when it comes to verify the authenticity of goods of luxury, but also when it comes to individual information. And it's pretty interesting in the case of Switzerland that is starting to adopt. So the public sector itself is starting to adopt this technology for public service related processes. But another very important, this is basically my favorite one, because as a lot of how can I say, can present a big and huge return on investment when it comes to the adoption of blockchain, is the decentralized DNS. So DPNS in the context of cybersecurity, because this might help everyone to defend their systems by attackers, because by decentralizing the architecture itself, this can help to reduce the attack margin from the attackers. And this is a big advantage, especially when it comes to big organizations and with vulnerabilities with certain cyber gaps. So I would say that in a nutshell, across several industries and probably across all the industries, blockchain is here to stay, is already here, is now a consolidated reality, is not hype anymore. Because I could say a couple of years ago was still hype. Today is basically reality and fully integrated with the business models of all the main companies. I'm sorry, here in the Middle East, in Europe, in the United States, in Turkey, and in Asia. So it's definitely, I would recommend to all the young people to subscribe to this master, because this will open the doors to a lot of professionals opportunities in all the sectors. Is definitely a valuable asset.
So what do you think about the use of the blockchain on the base of the Web3? Because it was Web2, now Web3. So do you think that there will be more developments in it? And secondly, how do you think that Metaverse influence our life? I mean, our real life?
Sure. Well, the questions are very interesting because they touch not only the technological layer, but also the philosophical and the ethical domain. I would say in a nutshell, I used to imagine the Web3 as not only an arriving point, but rather a process. So we are still, a portion of us is still in the Web2, we are moving toward the Web3. So we could say, to be honest and objective, we are in the web, currently in the Web 2.5, just to choose an intermediate layer. But what is important to understand is that Web3 is made of 4 main components. The websites that will remain basically the same when it comes to its technological features in general, but we will have a decentralized website, something running on a decentralized architecture. And what's gonna provide this decentralizing component? Of course, the blockchain. Again, not only the wallets added to the website, but itself the way the data are processed, so that the users will be empowered to not only own their own data without sharing them without permission to any third party, but also to encash them, also to realize a profit from them, because they will be able to sell their data. This is also the case of healthcare. It's very, very interesting. But another component of the Web3 is what I used to define as the UI UX 3.0. So today we have very fancy user experiences on the website, and we have to imagine that what is now on 2 dimensions and inside a screen will be 3-dimensional and fully interacting with us. This is the exact definition of Metaverse. So Metaverse is not a standalone, is not a single technology or something that stands, again, out of the mess or out of all these technologies, but is one component of the Web 3.0. So we have to imagine Web 3.0 as a different interaction. Now we interact with a computer on a two-dimensional scale, but it will be more 3-dimensional, more interactive, more physical, and more perceptional. I would say. While the last component of Web3 is basically what will empower, will fuel this difference of perception, which is AI and big data. So the user experience will be customized based on the preference of the person, of the individual, of the user, based on their research on YouTube, on Google, and so on. And this will propose in a different way also the content. So this is the macro equation of Web3, and the metaverse inside and the blockchain is there. All of them cannot be seen as separated, even though they have their own identity. So this is somehow an overview about the Web3. Regarding the question of how the metaverse will impact our life, I would say that as every technology, we are the one who decides how to use the technology. For example, I recall always the example of Enrico Fermi, who found for the first time, who discovered the nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. And unfortunately, that invention has been used to produce the atomic bomb. Now, we can produce an incredible amount of energy to help people in Africa with electricity and to help them to develop, or we can create the atomic bomb. This is the overall question that we always have to ask when it comes to innovation. Now, is not a good excuse to stop the innovation itself, but at the same time shall raise our awareness when it comes to the adoption of this technology. So the main role shall be played by the regulators, who shall issue guidelines, rulings, and also frameworks. So I believe that now we're moving in that direction. The UAE, the Emirates are moving toward that direction. I think that all the Middle East will follow that path. And I wish that also, again, United States, Europe, and Asia will definitely adopt this trend, because after all, this can influence us in several ways. Metaverse can influence us in terms of, from the social point of view. Imagine when we had the advent of social media, more people used to stay at home, and this might be even an accelerating factor. So even more than what we experience with Web2. And definitely this is one aspect. The second aspect is also definitely a concern that I personally have is the personal data. How easily and accessible will be the personal data, which is not a matter of security, but how democratic is going to be the ledger itself. If we imagine a public ledger that is going to be available to a lot of users, if it's going to be a private, it's going to be different. But the idea is to create an open metaverse where rights are respected, the ownership is granted, and the democratization is there.
Okay. I'm closely following your publications, and one of the real very interesting one was the surgery in Metaverse.
Exactly.
Mostly in healthcare. So it is really, we know that the technology in healthcare is developing very fast. We come with the robotic surgeries, etc. But for the first time, I saw your publication about the surgery of a patient. So do you think that what will be the limits, when you are talking about the metaverse? I think it is like when we are teasing each other about the internet now. Internet is everywhere. So we know how the technology developed from text to fax, from fax now to email. So it is a very fast developing process. And, most of the Z kind of, I would say, Z-line people are more digitalization, on the base of the digitalization. Europe wants to form a big revolution in digitalization. So, as you said, Dubai is most advanced. Even they have a minister, as far as I know. So what do you think about the new technologies, or do you think, I will ask you more like the people on the streets could understand, more than academic base. Do you think metaverse will spread as use to many people, or stay like only on the computerized base? What do you think about that?
This is a very interesting question, and again, when we ask a question about the future, the best way to respond is to look at the past. After all, we are humans, and we follow cyclic behaviors. This is pretty true in economics, in the customer behavior, in finance, in everything, also in the history. So what happened? If you remember, the first iPhones were very, very expensive. They were inaccessible to majority of people. And now today, almost everyone have iPhone. The same for the personal computer. You remember it was very, very big, and having a computer at home would have meant having basically an UFO, right? It was very, very interesting. Today, I think the only gap, the market gap, is represented by the technological enhancement of the smart glasses and their pricing. Now we are developing, so to allow everyone in the metaverse and to allow everyone to experience this dimension, we have two main components. Basically reduce the technological gap, so creating products that are complete, efficient, and working in majority of the situation, for example, smart glasses or VR, AR devices. And the second is the pricing, so something accessible to everyone. And I remember that was the same concern when it comes to the smartphones. So majority of the people in the world now have smartphones and have connections, so everywhere in the world, also in the North Pole, just because the pricing strategy, the pricing model was so that allowed all the people to have access to basically these devices. So in a nutshell, to respond to your question, I believe that in the next 7-8 years, all the people will have, majority of the people of the world will have access to these devices. And also I will tell you, this is something that I found out yesterday, in 2023 will be launched on the market also the first Metaverse smartphone, which is a smartphone integrating in its chip not only blockchain related features, something that can create a need for that, but also VR and AR components and chips that can help to integrate all the other devices. So that's something that we shall look at, definitely.
Great. I would like to ask to the participants or to the listeners whether they have any questions. I already sent a message. If they didn't see the message, I would like to give the chance to them when we find you here. If they have any question to you, just few minutes, I will give them if they have any questions. But in the meantime, I would like to ask one more question. I mean, will the influence of blockchain, because now we see Metaverse, we are talking NFTs, it's different tools are coming. And do you think through blockchain will new, I would say, ideas out? And I would say, is blockchain is a good, I would say, use for financial instruments? Because, the economy generally in the world is not going well. So they need new instruments to have some connection. So will blockchain help about that?
Yeah, blockchain basically will have in several aspects, not only for internal processes, again, when it comes to service tokens that can help in reducing the processing cost of all the operations. For example, I think about the loan applications or the credit-worthy assessments. But also, I think in terms of crypto assets themselves. Now, if we read the reports, we have JP Morgan or Deutsche Bank or BNP Paribas, or we have also UniCredit with the huge crypto assets in their portfolio. So again, I would say that the crypto tokens, the service tokens, and the tokens themselves as crypto are the main use in the financial sector, where actually the processing cost and all the process operation costs are reduced by the use of the service ones. So this is something that has been adopted already by a couple of years, and I guess majority of the banks have already utilized this kind of technology for this purpose, and are always also betting on the fall and the rise of cryptocurrencies, while everyone is saying crypto is dead and blockchain is dead. But the more is how can I say, is assumed to be dead, the more it rises. So I would rather be careful before making such strong statements.
Okay, I'm one of the strong believer that blockchain will change the world, and I think your ideas and inputs on the subject of Web 3.0 and the Metaverse connection really today enlighten us more to think and to have a more innovation based or more, I think, cover new places, new ideas into the picture. So today's speaker was Giorgio Torre. We are very, very happy really to have you with us at Istanbul Aydın University Blockchain Talks by Blockchain Academy. I would like to give special thanks to you, and we hope to see you also in our campus in Istanbul in one of the opportunities to see also live with our students. Giorgio, I personally thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you, Erol.
thank you sharing your views with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you and good luck. I hope to see you personally in Istanbul. Inshallah.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.